Right, so hello viewers and welcome to Shattered Planet. I'm your host PPCC, and well, today we'll be starting a new Let's Play series, really just checking out this game, playing it, and really just sort of exploring what it has to offer. And currently, I have the PC press preview version of the game here. This game will be out on the PC, on Steam, on July 3rd, although currently I believe it's out for Android devices on a Google Play Store. It's actually I believe it's a free-to-play game as well on Android devices there. So anyhow, Shattered Planet here caught my eye because it's a roguelike title, meaning that it's generally considered a fairly difficult RPG game that features randomly generated sort of environments and other features there. And namely, it's a game based upon exploration, so I figured we might as well give this a go and really just sort of take a look at it. Now, with that said, I mean, I'd say that this is more sort of a roguelike-esque title than a full roguelike. I'm going to restart the game here so that we can start off fresh with the tutorial. Being that it's not, say, a full roguelike in the traditional term, in that once you die, you lose everything. You have to restart the game from scratch. In that it's more sort of a I wouldn't say speedrun, but try to go as far as you can type of thing. So, let's get the game started here, and we'll load up the tutorial, and we'll just really check out what this game has to offer. Now, a lot of the dialogue inside the game, which this sort of tutorial relies on, will be featured through these dialogue boxes. Now, you can feel free to pause the video and read these if you like, if I go too fast here, but the general premise for the game is that we play as what is effectively this infinite army of these explorer type of clones, and we're set off, we're effectively put onto these alien planets, and we're just really expected to explore these areas and see how far we can explore before the ultimate sort of demise of these guys. So anyhow, it's a pretty simple RPG premise. I mean, we have the health bar here, we have the little mini map, we have an inventory screen at the bottom here, and inside this game we have two different resources. We have scrap metal, we have crystals, a little bit more about them later on, but the general focus on this game is about exploration, finding new enemies, finding new sort of places to explore, and finding new items as well, speaking of which we have one right here. So, we can equip two items. We can equip a sort of a piece of armor or a weapon. Let's equip this helmet, seeing as how we just found it, and there's really nothing that we can go wrong with this. So there we go. And yeah, like I said, this game is very based upon exploration. So we've discovered a new item here, a helmet, and that'll effectively log a new entry into our little encyclopedia here. And in general, as you do this, you sort of gain gradual rewards, and if you do it enough, you'll unlock a bigger reward. The interesting portion of the game is that, yeah, it's fairly centered about just really filling up this log filled with different, say, things here and there. And really, with the RPG elements, I mean, here and there are, I'd say, pretty simple. It definitely makes up for it by presenting these really interesting biomes, different items, and just in general, different enemies, of course, which have their own logs here. So, starting off, we can take a look at this hazmat helm, for example. So it's a 4-star item, so it's fairly rare, actually. It has 3 defense, so that'll be important later on. That's 16 wit, and the game's statistics, or stats for a guy, they're not, say, terribly complex. They're really just down to 4 different things: strength for attack, wit for evasion, this fate for increased critical hits, and what else there? And dodge, I believe. The interesting thing about the items is that, in general, a lot of them provide you with, say, some sort of unique ability. For example, this hazmat helm provides that chemical immunity thing, so it works exactly as you might imagine a hazmat helm to do, and it provides us with this ability here, which is fairly decently useful, seeing as how quite a few of the enemies inside this game are poisonous. Speaking of enemies, it looks like we found our first 2 here, and we have one of these looks like these little crab head people, so I think we'll just beat them down. Currently we don't have a weapon, so we can only punch these guys, and we'll just really get rid of them like that. So it looks like we found a few crablets, some delicious territorial crustaceans. These guys are fairly sensitive to, evidently, blunt damage, and they're fairly common, seeing as how they only have a 1-star rating here. But, of course, whether it's common or uncommon, so long as we discover it and interact with it, we gain some resources for our efforts there. currently it looks like we're stacking up quite a lot of these crystals and a little bit of this metal. These resources carry over from sort of guy to guy, clone to clone, if you will. Although once the clones die, they of course lose their progress here, and they of course lose all of their items. So let's get rid of this other clone. This is of course the tutorial. The game gets much harder after this point. And another thing that you can discover inside this game is that scattered across these randomly generated maps, there will be a few of these event locations. So one thing like here, these will typically have two options. I haven't found any more that have two, although I imagine that they might be inside the game. So anyhow, it looks like a sleepy crablet is crawling out of its hole right now, and it hasn't noticed us. We have the option to attack it or feed it. Well, last time inside my own run, I chose attack, and it didn't really work out as I had thought, so I think I'll do feed here. So it's going to do a stat check. It looks like we passed it, and well, we've discovered a subset of these crablets from the looks of it. We've discovered a friendly one, so it looks like this is a 3-star rating type of item. It fills up that bar, if you will, there. And in general, it looks like we found a companion for ourselves. So what we've just found is a little guy here, a little crablet, and he'll follow us over here. So you can find companions inside the game. They'll fight with you, they'll follow you around, but only for your current clone. So again, factoring into that roguelike genre. If we die, of course, we do lose these perks here. Right. So, with that said, let's move forward, and let's just go into this teleporter here and advance to the next stage. And yep, the game features right around 5 game modes, and this is in general the premise of the primary one, where you try to explore these worlds or sections of worlds, and you try to complete these distances and to really just sort of move through these teleporters here. So that is the first one there, and currently we're on the second one now. And that has evidently put us into a whole new area here. Looks like we've started off in a very sort of a mechanical or like some sort of factory setting. And it looks like we've also started off with a perk this time. So there are actually different classes of people that you can play, of classes of clones that you can play. And the current one that we're playing as has this trait. Whenever you start off a new map, I believe you gain the sneaky trait, which will make it so that enemies are make yourself harder to detect from enemies. So let's see what is around here. It looks like inside the distance here and here, you'll see that inside the fog of war we can see where enemies are. Although we can't really tell what they are. That thing looks like it's pretty tough, so I think I'll try to avoid it for now. I'll try to scurry about here and really just to pick up these items here and there. And ooh, we found something else. Yeah, the game seems to really like these bottle items. Namely, you can find a whole bunch of these randomly generated bottom for potions, in which they typically you have the option of either drinking them or say throwing them. So with that said, these might be very good things, or they might be say very bad things. So I think we'll throw one and drink one to really just see what happens. Looks like we we threw out the potion there because it didn't look like it blew up or anything, but we drank the one that damaged us slightly. Right, so again, oh my, it looks like we found a turret over there. Want to try our best here at avoiding these say turrets and enemies until we can get an idea as to how much damage they do. Oh. And really just go from there. Right, so like I said, it's a roguelike title. It's fairly difficult here, and definitely offers quite a lot of ways to die inside this game. Well, like I said, I mean, it's not, say, a very traditional roguelike in that you don't actually sort of lose everything here. So what happens is that of course we do lose your items, we do lose those companions and our progress, of course, but inside this game, I mean, this game is it's pretty forgiving in that we can just sort of clone back and start from afresh, really, to go from there. So I believe on the Android version of the game, what will happen is that you have different classes to unlock here. And these classes, I believe, will be sort of like paid add-ons in the free-to-play version for Android devices. But in the PC version, all you really have to do is just unlock research levels to get them. Currently, we have actually 2 available for us. So we have the assassin chick person, which has that sneak ability, and we also have this guy, the renegade, which starts off with this good mood ability. So I think we'll play out with him. We'll try to see what happens when he goes out into the field, and really just go from there. Now, over time, as you sort of level up your guy and just generally advance inside the game, this spaceship, if you will just gradually fill up with more and more different things to interact with. Currently we have 3. As you saw there, we have the object to change our clones' his appearance and of course his class. I'm actually going to head over here and we'll check out the other 2 items as well because they're fairly neat. And this thing over here is a random object generator. What we can do here is that as you see here, our scrap metal spend our training and our crystals carry over. So with our crystals, I can actually spend our crystals on, say, a few items for us to take into the field, and of course that'll extend our lifespan there, and it'll make it it'll just generally allow us to progress further, really. So I can choose between 3 different options here, spending different amounts of crystals as we go along. We can generate a fairly common / uncommon 1 to 2 star item here using this setting. And I think we'll do that right away. Or, alternatively, we can generate a bit of a higher leveled item here. I believe this one's 3 to 4, and this one's a 5-star item, so the rarest were sort of the rarer items there. And it looks like we made a new item here. We made a sort of a zap stun stick type of thing. It does a decent amount of damage. It adds 6 strength to us, so that'll definitely factor into our damage as well. But the main thing here is that, and again, most of these items will have their unique circumstances here and there. Looks like whenever we hit something, it'll make enemies more sensitive to electrical attacks, and of course this thing does electrical attacks, so that's pretty useful. But say if in the event that we make an item that we might not say like or might decide to take for another day, we can also come over here. We have a stash of items and the game starts you off with a few, and of course we can just sort of check these out as well, and to really just use them in the field as well. So currently at the stage in which I'm at the game, what happens is that I've noticed that I can take items out of here, but unfortunately I can't really say put them back, because if I did try to put them back, I'd be dead, seeing as how the only time that I really come back here is when my guy dies. So that is one thing that I'm not too terribly sure upon. But anyhow, generally speaking, the game recommends that you equip yourself with, say, like a helmet, some piece of armor really, and a weapon before you go forward. So we sort of met those requirements, and we'll also take a juice box, and we'll just really check out some of the other game modes for this particular title, and we'll just go for round 2 really. So, the game mode that we just saw was, of course, the premier sort of explorer mode here. You just effectively try to go as far as you can, go through as many of those stages, if you will, and try to really just beat your high score really there. Alternatively, the game also offers a few more, even harder difficulty modes. You have the data log here, where you try to find an unknown species that's lurking deep inside a planet. You also have the signal game mode here, and of course these are just, haven't actually tried these yet, but these are variations of hard, very hard, and crazy hard evidently, although they do have, of course, scaling rewards. Now, one thing about this game is that it also has a daily challenge. These are, I would assume to be, daily things here and there. I believe that these are pre-made sort of scenarios where you gain, the game sets you up with, say, some starting gear here. So it looks like it starts you off, this one started you off with a pair of eyeglasses, some sort of like fold-up chair, and 3 juice boxes. And the general gist of it was that, again, you try to go as far as you can. Depending on how far you go, you gain different rewards. And the neat thing about them is that you can only play them once per day, meaning that, yeah, you really do want to try to see how well you can manage your resources and how well you can play to go to of course, that gold standard right there. But anyhow, let's take another run. Let's see how well we can do for the second time this time inside the exploration mode. So, it looks like we discovered a new entry here. Looks like we found a new biome, if you will, the Rawhide Valley. And yeah, so again, I mean, the primary mission is to really just explore and to check out these places, so we'll do exactly that. Starting off, let's get rid of this crablet like that, grab a few more resources, and we'll just go from there. I'm gonna try to avoid these enemies, and we'll just try to map this area out, see what else we can find. And sometimes you'll find some of these keycard things, which you can actually unlock more areas here and there. What do we have here? Oh, perfect. We found the exit to the zone here. And another juice box. Perfect. Oh, that's right. I forgot to talk about this. So yeah, as we've seen before, we had that assassin class with the sneak trait. Well, with this guy over here, the renegade, you start off with this good mood trait, which gives you 10 plus wits and fate. And of course, going back to those stats, wits helps you out with evading enemies, and fate helps you with critical hits and of course evading enemies once again. So, looks like we've already found the exit to this level. I'm actually going to explore just slightly farther because I want to see what else this place has to offer. And in general, it's a good idea to fully map out these areas, or at least map them out to the best of your ability. Here's some... Oh, yikes, it looks like we're just getting a ton of these potions here, or bottles of things here. We can also jump off the edge of the map here. I'm not terribly sure what it does, but don't necessarily want to try out for what it's worth there. And we have this, have that thing chasing us. I'm not really sure what it is, so I want to get to the exit here. And I want to see what it does, so it looks like it wants to attack us. I guess we'll just beat it down. And oh, it was just some sort of hidden crab. Oh, that's right. As you sort of explore more into areas, this blight thing will start to follow you. And in general, it's just sort of a way to push the player forward. And like I try to stay out of it because I'm not terribly sure what it does so far. So yeah, that's sort of that. And yeah, there we go. Distance 1 complete. We've explored a fair amount of territory. At, of course, the expense of some health. But that's fine because we'll go forward. And as we really advance here, we'll find more things. So, moving forwards from here, looks like there is some sort of a new crablet enemy right there, so I want to try to avoid it as best as I can. Don't want to move forwards too much here because it looks like there's a few enemies over here. Luckily that was a shard deposit, so we can also smack that down and mine from it. But this guy is going to be quite tough, namely because this is it's a venomous version of these crablets. And this thing does poison damage. So yeah, venomous crablet, it's relatively uncommon compared to the 1-star variant of it. It has poison resistance, and it'll spit out poison here, which will, of course, cause us to gradually lose life over time. So I'm going to use my juice box here to hopefully keep us alive. And I think I'll just break down this shard thing so then we can get a few more crystals. And it looks like we're just pretty much on the verge of death here, unfortunately. So, with that said, we have a few things here to help us out. Namely, it looks like we just picked up, excuse me, a key card, so it looks like we can use that to open up some sort of gate or bridge on this map. But namely, we also have a lot of these potions, and like I said earlier, I mean, we can throw them or use them. So, with that said, currently, I think the best option would be to just use them here, and hopefully one will heal us, like that. Looks like the chances are in our favor currently, so with that said, let's try to move ever further, really. Luckily, these are just regular crablets, unlike that poisonous one over there, and we'll try to go even further here. Hopefully we'll find, say, some sort of item here. I think we'll try to throw one of these bottles as well, see what it does. Gonna beat down that one. Hopefully we can escape here, and no. Well, like I said, I mean, it's quite a difficult game, and the general idea of it is, of course, just to try to push forward and go as far as you can. Now, of course, as you saw there, we spent a tiny amount of crystals on items. Here's where the game sort of really opens up. Now, what we can do is we can spend a few of these